Welcome everybody to
Hello.
Human Design Conversations with Linda Gaio.
And Sean Wilson.
Today's conversation is going to be centered around gate 26 in line 2, which is what is active today. Today's date is the
11th
of December 2019. So how do I go next? Oh, there we go. Very nice. So this is the two of us, and you can see the video on the top screen. But we've been hanging out and living our human design for close to 2 years now. And it's been a super fun, awesome journey. And the Human Design Conversations is just an extension of us loving to hang out together and loving to learn more about human design and just share in what we see and how we've experienced it in our own human design experiments.
Yes, all the experimentation we're doing and day to day, how it fits in with our lives. Yeah, lots of fun.
So this is just a snapshot of the today chart, which shows
Today's
basically all the activations. Yeah, everything that's active through the sun. Yeah, sun, all the planets.
All the planets, yeah.
Sun, Earth, and all the planets.
So today we're going to be looking at the right triangle.
Yeah,
there you go.
Sorry. There you go. I just you want me to go back to?
I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Go back for just a second, maybe. Yeah.
So
you can see off to the right on your screen is a nice little triangle. That's white, and that is the heart center.
This one.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's clever. The heart center or the ego.
And it's this particular gate over here. Is the one we're looking at today.
So I guess maybe we should say something about the actual center itself before we get into the gate.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to start? There's a big pause there. So the ego center is all about willpower, and when you have it undefined like it is in this particular image, and what is true in my particular design, I have it undefined, you can have the sense of feeling unworthy or this feeling of needing to prove yourself. And you'll find that with it open, the conditioning around that will be really strong. So as you start going through your deconditioning process, these feelings of worthiness and needing to prove yourself will just keep coming up, different layers, different aspects of it. And it's an opportunity for you to just see it and realize that that's not you.
Yeah, yeah. And notice the wisdom in it, because if it's defined, then often there's a viewpoint that you have the will or you have the ability to commit to things. But if it's colored in and it's defined, you can, like with everything in human design, there's duality. So even if it looks like you have the ability to commit and follow through on things, if it's not correct for you, it can be a poor use of the willpower within you. So it's really important to remember the duality.
Some of the biggest illnesses can actually happen in defined centers because it's this consistent willpower, and so people can really push it, and that's where the unhealthiness can come out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. You happy with that?
Yeah.
All right. So let's just go to the next one. Mouse is not cooperating. There we go. How do we remove the annotation? You have to erase it or what? Because we don't need it on this one. There you go. It's gone.
Beautiful. So it's actually it's only got 4 gates, the heart center.
I've actually moved this here. Hopefully that'll move in the video so that we can see gate 26. And
that gate 26 is reaching towards the splenic center.
Yeah. If we go back to this one, the spleen is down here.
You're demonstrating your skills today.
So it's kind of reaching from the ego down to the spleen. Yeah. So we let's get rid of that again. And then we move over You can maybe have next time I'll put the picture of two instead of just the one.
Hmm.
So gate 26, the taming power of the great, the gate of the egoist. I don't know. What I find sometimes when you first read these explanations is they don't really make much sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it actually takes a bit of time to start unraveling what these things mean. My interpretation of gate 26, I don't actually have it in my design, but my partner does have it. And I definitely see in him, one of the things that stands out for me with gate 26 is innovation. It's about bringing innovation to the tribe. Because if they don't innovate, they are going to cease to exist at some point. And the thing with the tribe is that they are normally quite conservative and they actually don't want to innovate and they don't want to bring about change. They want to just stick with what they know. But the 26 is here to really be able to pitch, like a big sales pitch to the tribe to say, listen here, this innovation is crucial for your survival. If you don't innovate, if you don't apply these things into your tribal environment, you're actually going to go extinct. So let me show you that this is the absolutely best possible thing that you can buy into right now because it's going to do X, Y, and Z. So it's very much like the salesman, but the underlying or the grounding elements underneath it is about the survival of the tribe and about the protection of the interests of the tribe. So it's not just selling for sales, for the
sake of
selling. It's essentially to help the tribe to continue to survive. And when I look at my partner, he loves this. Is innovation and him are like two words that I would definitely associate. When he goes into companies and he's wanting to share something with them, it's all about innovation. He's always looking at ways that they can work better, work smarter, work faster, be more productive, have more efficiency in their company. And it's all through innovation, bringing new processes, new ways of doing things into them. And it can be a tough sell sometimes because people know what they know and they want to stick with what they know and they don't want to change. So it can be quite tough to kind of get people across the line. But I definitely see this aspect of innovation coming out of him.
And it's coming out of a defined heart center. So it's a consistent energy to innovate. Yes. So what's interesting for me is, again, I don't have it in my chart, but 3 of my family members have it. And my eldest daughter, it's her personality sun, and she's also got it in a personality a couple of other places and in her design.
Her birthday's in a couple of days.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, the idea, she's a teenager, plus the idea of the salesman, and yes, she can certainly pitch what she thinks is helpful. But her particular angle, whether it's where she's going to go to school or how something should happen in the house around technology. It's interesting you mentioned innovation because she's really into technology. There is the intention behind that, or motivation is a tribal one. It is better for the better of the good of all of us, which I'm only kind of realizing now, as you said that about the tribal element. And she's so persuasive. I mean, she's just.
It's like these 26s are the ones that can sell ice to Eskimos and make them think that it's a good idea. Like, seriously, you need this ice. Let me sell it to you. Don't worry about all this ice that's around you. This particular block is the one you need.
Yes, absolutely. The challenge for her is that it's in an open, in an undefined center. And I guess maybe we should talk about the difference. The openness means there's no gates around the center, and undefined. But often people say open. Yes. And they mean undefined. So
in the picture that we have here of the 26 in the slide, that would mean that it's undefined because there's still an activation, but the actual center is not colored in. Yeah.
So she's got that. So she doesn't have the consistent energy to innovate or to use her manipulation trickster skills, to influence others. I also have, my husband has it in his North Node, personality and design, which is interesting because that's all about the environment he's going into or is in as an older person now. And that also rings true for me, for him, with how he is in his job. He's innovating, he's also got it in a defined heart center. yeah, that's and influencing the others to. And it's interesting with him back home now and listening to him on phone calls and seeing that side.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he does it at home, but it's not always as welcomed because it's not his job. And, I have the 21 in an open heart center, so control is a sensitive topic sometimes for me. I need to be asked and informed.
Yeah.
And then my daughter has it, my 12-year-old, she has it in one of the planets, and again, a different line. And I can see that in play with her, but it's less sort of frequent. So it doesn't play as big a role.
So as a question out of interest, where you have a daughter that has it in her sun Earth, and then you have a husband who has it just in the North Node, and then a daughter that has it in a planet, who's it strongest with? The sun Earth person?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And that would make sense because your sun Earth is like 70% of your design. So it must actually be in Eddie's as well. Because I didn't look.
Yeah.
Because his birthday is the day before.
Of course it is.
It must be in his sun Earth too. I didn't actually check that. Where it was. I just knew he had it. So, and he's very much like, innovation is something I would definitely call Eddie. And because it's in his incarnation cross, that makes sense that it's so prominent, Whereas you probably find as it goes down in the planets, the ones that have less and less percentage of effect, it's there, but it's not as a prominent feature.
Yes, absolutely.
And so for those that have the 26, this is one of the things that I liked about it, is that it's also not only the salesman but also the protector, because the ego or the heart center is associated with the thymus and the T cells. And this is about, anything entering in the body that the army, your body's cells come out and start fighting whatever's not healthy for it. And this is essentially that aspect of the salesman that I was talking about earlier. It's there for the protection of the tribe as well. They're not just there to sell, they're actually there to protect. So they'll stand up for the tribe and fight for them, for the interest of the tribe.
And it's I think it's very charming. The way they do it is charming. The way Eddie is being a salesman. I mean, sometimes if you think of the word salesman, you think like cheesy, but because of the innovation side and the better, the intention, the better good of humanity, it comes across as a sort of a warm.
Like I have your best interest at heart. Just listen to me already.
Yeah, and you can just listen, like while they're transmitting what feels good for them. You can listen and just soak it all up. And that's another, actually talking about transmission, that's another challenge for the undefined heart center that has the 26 gate activation is sometimes not, and because it's a projected field, your wisdom or your influence needs to be invited. And so sometimes people having this are not sure about what, how, when to transmit, what the message should be, which is,
they can kind of like shoot hoping to land but not really know where it's
and if their viewpoints are invited, then it can come off a lot cleaner and clearer. I feel that with my daughter. If we're asking her particularly about something that she's really passionate about, then we got to sit down with a cup of tea for a while and just wait out. And be intoxicated by her.
So when anything's travel, there's always that support element, but it's also about material, the material plane. And the whole purpose of the salesman is to bring more material wealth into the tribe to help them to survive. So material, and wealth, those two words, when we use them in the program, people often associate it only with money, but it can also be things like resources and all the different elements that tribes need to survive. Yes, in many respects, a lot of those, sometimes you need money to purchase in this world, but it doesn't always have to come through money. But it's definitely about selling to the tribe that, if you have really sick kids, but you don't have any money to bring medicine and stuff, then your tribe's not going to survive. So let's bring in this innovation that's going to help bring in the resources and everything you need so that you can have a healthy tribe And then when you have a healthy tribe that's thriving, that tribe's in a better position to be able to promote or live out their culture, their language, their philosophy, their ideals or whatever, as opposed to a dying and unhealthy tribe.
Beautiful.
So, I think that whenever you're talking about a gate, it's always good to see what's on the other side of it. So when we showed you early on that the 26 is pointing down to the spleen on the other end. So while we have the ego, or the heart center, we talked about that being about willpower. The spleen on the other side is about intuition and your immune system. And so the 26 on its own, yes, it does need to be invited because it's a projected channel. But if it can have the 44 on the other side, the 44 is going to instinctively know what the tribe needs. And so this is where the transmission will land cleanly, because the 44 is going to be intuitively going, okay, I'm really aware of what the tribe needs for its survival. And I'm like, okay, here it is. And it kind of anchors in onto, okay, this is the message we need to land with the tribe. And I actually have the 44. And because my partner and I, we work together quite a lot in business, it's been interesting to see that connection, because he's got all the ideas and all the innovation, but when we sit in a meeting with a brand new client, someone that we're basically pitching our services to, I definitely feel this intuitive part coming in, where I'm just like reading the situation, reading the people, reading the environment, and I get a sense of what they're looking for. And I try to help steer my partner to talk about specific aspects, because he can get really excited about the innovation and run off talking about all these cool things, and you can just tell that the room is like losing interest, like he's lost them, and then it feels like I guide his innovation to land in the place that it needs to land.
Yes.
So that's where you get the whole channel, which is the channel of transmission. It's a transmitting channel.
And it's coming from the spleen. So on its own, it's a fear of extinction, reaching for the support through the tribal innovation.
Yes.
So how do you see that translating, like when you're separate to come together?
I guess there would maybe be some more fears around, is there going to be enough material or enough support for us to thrive? Like, are we going to go extinct? But when they come together, there's a sense of, I know what is needed, and you can bring the...
Yeah, and I might be jumping a gun to what the line is for today, but this gate is very much about memory and using specific elements of the past. And you were mentioned today, the 44 is about fear of the past, elements of the past to support the argument. So do you find that in your business discussions, that you are using things from what's worked in other companies, or where do you see memory?
Absolutely.
I thought that was interesting about memory.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got a case history, or what do you call them? Case study of something else, you're going to be like, and there was this client, and this is what was happening with them, and this is and we implemented the exact same solution that we're proposing to you, and this is what it's brought to them, and it's brought and get people excited about that.
And I found that with my daughter too. She's definitely very selective and talking about things in the past to support her argument. Because
when the 26 doesn't have the 44 around, they can come across as the cheesy salesman. Because they can get trapped in trying to sell something that isn't quite connecting with the needs, or what intuitively or instinctively is needed. So that's where the cheesy element can come in. And also, without the 44, they can get the sense of, because the spleen would be undefined, if they don't have the 44, or if the spleen is undefined, then they can have this letting go of things that are actually good for them as well, because generally the undefined spleen is about holding on to things that are not good for you. But when the 26 and the 44 don't connect, then they can actually let go of things that are good for them. Which has that other dual side to it.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure I've specifically seen that play out, but
that's definitely a potential.
Start watching it and seeing how that comes up. So what else do we have here?
The line 2 for today's actual flavor of Gate 26.
Yeah.
The lessons of history, exaltation, the energy and depth of reflection to learn from the past in anticipation of the future. The power of the ego to mature. I like that, to mature through experience. So we were talking about how the ego can get the ego to mature, but also we talked earlier about the heart, the health of the heart. So if the person is doing things that are correct for them, or they're transmitting information that's well received, they can actually get physically stronger in the heart center. I like the physical side of that.
Because, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm going back a little bit here, but like the 44 without the 26 might instinctively know what is correct for the tribe and make promises about what they could deliver, but then not have the willpower to back it up. And this is, I guess, where you could have that sense of, pushing in the heart space where you don't have the energy for it. And that can also be the unhealthy aspect that would come out.
Pushing where it's not healthy for you.
You made a commitment, but you don't have the energy to back it up. You don't have the willpower to back it up.
And then on the converse, if you do have a defined heart center and you made a commitment, fulfilling it can strengthen your heart, can strengthen your health. Fulfilling the correct
I was going to
commitments.
correct
commitments. We have to always come back to strategy and authority. What is correct?
Because they can commit to anything, right?
Yes.
But if it's not correct, that's where they're going to get into the space of pushing.
And again, the converse side again is if you have the undefined and you keep committing to promises you can't keep, then you're going to deplete possibly the health of your heart, but also exacerbate the not self of the ego center. That not good enough. And if you keep on that cycle, it just makes the feeling more and more uncomfortable.
So the detriment, the urge to take action despite the evidence of history, the failure of the ego to respect experience. So this is where we're really getting into looking back into the past, seeing what works, what hasn't worked, and then using that as a way to go, right, guys, look, in the tribe, this is what's been happening for the last 15 or 20 years. It isn't working for us. We need a new way. We need a new direction. Otherwise, it's going to keep happening. Or, you see something hasn't been working and you just do it anyway. It's the other side, right? We don't, let's just keep doing it because it hasn't been working, but we know it, so let's just keep doing it.
But no need to innovate.
Yeah. Sure. Do you have anything else you want to say on that?
No, I think
there's I just put in channel 2624, which is basically when the two meet each other, you get this channel of surrender, the design of the transmitter. And we did chat about this already. When the two link up is when you have the 44 on the spleen side, instinctively knowing what the tribe needs for survival, and the 26 on the other side with the innovation and the ideas. They come together and then they can just transmit this message cleanly, which brings about this awesome new tribal innovation energy.
And that really will cement the tribe's culture, values, traditions, and keep it thriving.
Absolutely. So we mentioned that tribal, this forms part of the ego circuit, and it's a projected channel, which Sean explained about needing to be invited. So when this energy is invited and then shared from that space, it's going to land more cleanly, and it's going to be received more cleanly as well. Do you have anything else you wanted to add on
No.
692? So we just got our last little slide here, which just puts links to both my website and Sean's. We both doing work around human design and in different aspects of connecting to your own life force energy, and being true to that unique life force energy. And part of the reason why we're going through the gates is to have a better understanding of all the little different elements and aspects, so that you can really anchor into your life force energy and go, yes, this is me, and I'm going to live it fully. And there's all ways of getting there, right? Human design is one tool.
I'm working a lot with mindfulness and some of the work I'm doing is with families in areas with human design. If you had, if we thought of the body chart, if you have the, if you think about the pressure centers in human design, the pressure from the head and the pressure from the root, we have this immense pressure on the body system for the energy to move to the throat for manifestation and expression. So a lot of the work I do is around alleviating the pressure we place on ourselves. So that could be, you know, a mother being concerned about the pressure her daughter places on herself in a certain area, to really, again, to connect to who we truly are and to thrive as who we really are and remain connected and operate really as ourselves in the world. Yay!
Yay! Yeah, it's beautiful work to really see someone living at themselves and like staying anchored into that energy.
Anchored. Yes, yes.
Like, because I was actually having a conversation with, I'm a kite surfer, and I was having a conversation with an older kite surfer, and we were talking about how, you know, even if you're having a bad kite surfing session day, like it isn't going at all that great, it doesn't really matter because you're out here and it's a beautiful day and all of this, and you know, you can just let it go. But the point that I brought up with him is, can you do that even when you're not here? Even when you're not in this beautiful setting and doing the thing that you love, can you take that and live that no matter what's going on around you?
No matter what's going on around you, yeah.
And so this is, I guess, a lot of people think that, you know, when they're anchored into their own unique energy, that all the challenges of life will just fall away. But that's not the case. And the conditioning, if you've got any openness in your design, which everybody has, you are going to be subjected to conditioning forever, ever, amen. And you're going to be in situations which are going to challenge you to sit with your energy more. Yes. And so tools about handling pressure, or meditating, or working with your breath, or being out of your mind, all of those things, all these pieces connect together to help us stay anchored into our energy. And human design is a way for you to see what your energy is, but then living it is a whole other ball game, right? There's this whole aspect of really like, how do I live it in every moment, no matter what's happening around?
Yes.
And you know, your life situation right now might be pretty crappy, but can you still live as you, no matter what your life situation is? Because as you live as yourself, you can step into the passenger consciousness, right? To be an observer, to relax, to let go, and just be like, life's actually pretty groovy. If it doesn't matter, like the shit can be just, proverbial shit can be flying all around me, but I'm anchored in
your frequency, your life force. And that's where human design conversations comes in, because it's always helpful when these things are going on around us, and also for us to test and understand and have a conversation with someone else about, this is what's going on for me, good, bad, indifferent, and how does that show up for you, or this is what I'm feeling, and to bounce ideas off, to really be able to embed and embody your own experience more, and really start to be able to fine tune and really notice what's going on for yourself internally. So it's always great to chat.
You're finding someone who's on a similar energetic frequency to you, that you connect with and you can share this kind of journey with, is magical, right? It's like super cool to be able to share that. And so even though both Sean and I actually aren't tribal at all, really, we have very little tribal circuitry, we're more on the individual, collective, and integration side. There's still this sense of being on a journey with people. I don't like to use the word like-minded, because I don't want to put mind into it, but you know, frequency aligned, or you know, on the same fractal of energy, where we're kind of traveling along on a similar trajectory journey, and we can kind of sit next to each other in our spaceships and go like, hey, this is super cool, woohoo, you know, and just like have a chat about the journey.
No little spaceship.
I think that's
us.
I'm happy with that. Yeah, you good?
Really good.
Cool. So thanks for tuning in, and stay posted for some more views into the different gates and transit energies that are traveling around. Have a beautiful and magical day, everybody.
Bye.